G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. I really do appreciate it. And as always, it is my pleasure and the absolute privilege to entertain you as we talk about the greatest sport in the world, rugby. Tonight, history has been made. The Queensland Reds has defeated the Chiefs in New Zealand. The first time in 10 years this has happened. For way too long, there's been a stigma that, hey, going to New Zealand is an impossible feat for Australian team to win. You know, if we can come out with a bonus point loss, that's a win, guys. That's good enough. That's good enough. We're happy to just lose with a bonus point, right? And then it had this concept of, you know, the home ground, the crowd, the hostile crowd, you know, the weather, the cold weather, and then the dewy conditions, the grass might smell a bit different, all that. All that stuff that New Zealand has is just way too much for an Australian team to beat any New Zealand team in New Zealand, right? Tonight, the Reds has completely put that stigma aside and walked out and win, not because the Chiefs played poorly, right? Because the Reds really wanted more determination, and just had a better game plan for the entire duration of 80 minutes. The Reds was in control of this game for the full duration of the match, and I have not seen them play with this much determination, with this much guts, with this much, you know, ferocity for a number of years now, actually, for the Reds team. I was so happy at the end of the game. I was emotional. I could not believe what I see. And was an absolute spectacular game of rugby we saw tonight. Okay? And obviously, as always, a spectacular, beautiful game of rugby won't be good without some referee controversy, right? So, by the way, Paul Williams is a Kiwi. So, hey, you can't blame it on... You might, but there was some very controversial calls towards the end of the match. So, for a very long time now, there has been a lot of talks about referees giving the attacking team way too much advantage when it's close to the opposition try line. So the Chiefs, in the end of this match, had an opportunity to kick 3 points to level the game in the dying seconds of the match, right? They were inside the Reds 22. They get a penalty advantage for a seatbelt tackle. This was a little bit far out. And Paul Williams says penalty advantage, and the Chiefs played on. Chiefs made from, just inside the Reds 50 all the way into Reds 22. And Paul Williams, something that I've very rarely see this, right? Says advantage over. A penalty advantage that could have leveled the game for the Chiefs. Paul Williams had the balls to come out and say, advantage over, you've gone 25 meters. I was like, but immediately, Paul Williams says another advantage, another penalty, a new penalty for not rolling away. I was like, oh, Paul, you did so well, but you just have to do it. You just have to hand the win to your Kiwi friends. Oh, Paul. And this time, the penalty is well inside the Reds 22, right? So the Chiefs, it's just, 10 meters away from scoring a try. And there has been so many discussions about this in the media in the past. Like, in this situation, the penalty advantage, there's only two results. One, the team scores a try. Two, the team goes back for a 3 point. That's the only two results I have ever seen in my whole life when a penalty advantage is given inside the opposition 22. You either score or you go back to take the 3. You're right? So that's the two options that you got. Paul Williams tonight is the first time ever I have ever seen this. He says penalty advantage, and he allowed the Chiefs to play 10 plus phases, and he actually said penalty advantage over. I have never seen this ever in the history of rugby before. This took a lot of balls, gigantic balls, because this is what needs to happen. This is what everybody's talking, because it's been way too easy for the attacking team to get a penalty inside the 22 and just keep going until they score a try. And Paul Williams had the balls to say, hey, Chiefs, you've had 10 plus phases now. You have not been able to use the advantage. You have not been able to score, but you got really close. That's advantage over. You've taken your time. That's the advantage over. So the Chiefs eventually went over the try line and it was held up. And Paul Williams blew the whistle. Game over. And the Chiefs were absolutely baffled because everybody thought there was a penalty to go back for the 3 points, right? It's a penalty inside the opposition 22. You go back for the 3. You go back for the penalty and you go for the 3 or you go for another line out. There's never been in the history of rugby where a penalty advantage is over without scoring a try. And we saw it tonight. The Chiefs went over the try line, held up, and Paul Williams determined that was your advantage. You used it, you didn't get the try, game over. Huge call by the referee. Huge balls by Paul Williams. And I mean, I have to really applaud that. Like, I'm sure a lot of New Zealand fans are not happy about this, but that's the right decision. There has been so many talks about this, and no referee has the balls in the world, in the history of rugby, in the history of professional era, at least, because I don't know what happened in the past, to do this, to make this call. And Paul Williams tonight did make the call. Absolutely unbelievable by the referee. So that's that. Now, let's talk about what happened. How did the Reds actually beat the Chiefs? So yeah, for a few weeks now, especially last week, I kind of put out on my channel in my review, the Reds look lost without a leadership role in the 10 position. The Reds currently have Liner and have Crichton, kind of just going like ring roses around, and James O'Connor, kind of just like rotating that 10 position around. Nobody really has a solid, footing on the 10 jersey. And with Crichton and Liner both being quite new to the game, there's a lack of, leadership out of that 10 position. So last week especially, I thought was really noticeable, especially in the second half. McDermott was looking around, looking for options, and he was just, taking options left and right, and there was just lack of direction what the team wants to do, whether they want to go for the corner, whether they wanted to crash the ball, and then what do we do after we crash the ball? Do we go wide? Do we just go short? Do we kick the ball away? Nobody seemed to know what happened, what wants to do. And Brad Thorne has identified this issue last week, came out this week, and put O'Connor at 12. Right next to the rookies, Crichton and Liner. He's able to give the directions, give the team the stability, the clear, the calm head to make all the decisions that needed to be done to beat the Chiefs. That was the difference tonight. O'Connor at 12, something that the Eddie Jones will be extremely proud of, because this is his favorite setup, right? 2 5/8, 1 at 10 and 1 at 12. And yeah, and he worked the Reds. And the Reds also came out with a very clear strategy to keep the Chiefs playing a kicking game. Because the Chiefs actually has a much stronger carry game, with the forwards being able to go forward with the power game. And the Reds really wanted to minimize that power game from the Chiefs 4-pack and really lure the Chiefs into playing a lot of those kicking games. Even some of the kickings wasn't that great, but just to keep the Chiefs kicking the ball away, the Reds was able to really alleviate a lot of that upfront pressure that the Chiefs were able to bring with the poor 4-pack against so many other teams this season. So that was one way that the Reds did really, really well, drawing the Chiefs into a kicking game, and also just really, really good rush defense by the Reds. It's just really fronting up, making those tackles. So many weeks now the Reds had poor tackling, but this week the tackling was on point. Just front up, physicality, just get the Chiefs player down, shut down that full momentum that the Chiefs like to generate with the forwards. And then, and the Chiefs, once that full momentum is taken away, Damian McKenzie really don't have much choice when he gets the ball in the back line, right? He has to either, he's getting rushed by the defense, He don't have the space because the forward truck carrying the ball before him was, shut down before the advantage line. So he's going backwards in his attacking setup line, D-Mac. And when he gets the ball, he's like, well, what am I going to do? Probably just kick the ball away, right? So that's really just really brilliant strategy playing by the Reds, keeping the Chiefs in check, keeping that, advantage line, full momentum out of the Chiefs forward pack. And also, there's a massive change in mentality in the Reds team. So I've joked about this on my channel as well. The penalty milking by the Australian teams. Oh man, let's just kick 3 points and hope that we hold on to that 3-point lead for the next 30 minutes. No, the Reds came out tonight with a clear intention to win the game, and they did not take the soft option. They had so many opportunities to kick for 3. They said, nope, we're going to go for the try, and it paid off. Just sheer guts and determination, no fear against New Zealand teams, and they went for it, and they got the results, and they won the game. Something that so many Australian teams, especially in recent times, are afraid to do. Let's just, taking the 3-point is so much easier. Let's look for a way out. If you look for a way out, you're gonna lose the game. And the Reds know this tonight. Didn't take the easy options, and the results speaks for itself, right? So another really well done for the Reds right there. So with that being said, so that's a positive. The Reds did have some struggles in the game as well. The lineouts, the scrummaging was both really poor once again this week. The Chiefs, however, also did not capitalize on these mistakes that the Reds made. So the Chiefs did play a kicking game, and it wasn't like a bad kicking game. The Chiefs was able to target a few areas that they wanted to, especially in the first half. The Chiefs did really well to exploit the kicking game, in fact. They were able to find players like Vunivalu, who's lacking a little bit in that kicking area. They were able to target him a little bit with the kicking, and Vunivalu's return, kicking was just not that great in the first half. But the Chiefs really maybe taking the Reds a little bit too lightly from my looks. There was just a few missed opportunities with the passes, and suddenly you've missed out way too many opportunities, and you kind of just let the Chiefs almost had this feeling that we're just gonna get it next one, and then they mess up the next one, and then it's like we're just gonna get the Reds for the next one, and suddenly there are no next opportunity. You're chasing the game. The clock's running out, so that's kind of almost like what happened to the Chiefs. They're almost just being a bit too taking the Reds a little bit too lightly in some of those opportunities. On the back end of the Reds, poor lineouts. On the back end of the Reds, poor kicking at some point. The Chiefs just really didn't capitalize on that, and that really hurt the Chiefs, despite their dominance in the scrummaging and dominance in the set piece. And that's just that's really a bit disappointing if you're a Chiefs fan. So let's have a look at some of the stats that come out of this game. 3 tries to 4 for the Reds. The Chiefs had 724 run meters to the Reds 481. So the Reds was able to keep the Chiefs running out of their own half. That's why your run meter is so high, right? They were kicking the ball into your half and forcing the Chiefs to run out of your half, playing on the right areas of the game. 171 carries for the Chiefs, 131 for the Reds. This is some part that the Chiefs probably not going to be happy about. 13 turnovers conceded. The Reds only conceded 9. And that is on top of, the knock-ons and drop balls and whatnot. The Chiefs are not going to be really happy with this. Tackle count, 168 tackles for the Chiefs, 15 missed tackles. This is the world class. The All Blacks will walk away with 50 missed tackles. They will be really happy. That'll be a good day for the All Blacks. So once again, the Chiefs defense is world class. The Reds, huge improvement on the defense. 215 tackles made, only 23 missed tackles. This is, just above the 10% mark. Considering the Reds were missing 25 to 30% of their tackles in just the last few weeks, this is massive improvement to go down to, just that 10% mark. Huge improvement. And here's the issue where the Chiefs really got lured into. The Reds wanted to play a kicking game to neutralize the Chiefs, quick attacking forwards, carry ball run with a kicking game. 35 kicks to 33. At halftime, there was already close to 20 kicks for both teams. So halftime, there was 18 kicks by the Chiefs and 20 kicks by the Reds. So the Chiefs have identified that at halftime and reduced that kicking amount in the second half. It just was not enough. The Reds still managed to hold on to the game with the defense, with the rush defense, and not giving the D-Mac the options and the space that he's used to, and yeah, really shut down the Chiefs' attack really well in the second half. A bunch of missed kicks for both teams. That was the Reds, the missing kicks could have cost them, but luckily that was not the case. So lineouts, both teams. He says, I don't think this that's actually not correct. The Reds actually had a few lineouts where they kind of like didn't. Yeah, they kind of like messed up inside, especially inside their own 22, where the Chiefs were able to get the ball back. But the Chiefs was not really able to capitalize on their own attacking lineouts as well. There was a Chiefs attacking lineout inside the Reds 22, not straight. Something that I don't think I've seen that from the Chiefs team. It's usually the Reds. Actually, the Reds are not that bad either. It's usually like the Brumbies that does this sort of things where you throw the ball in and it's not straight, right? But the Chiefs had their lineouts not straight, just amateur errors as well tonight. But yeah, overall, the Chiefs had more dominance in that lineout. The scrummaging as well. The first half, the scrummaging was so bad for the Reds. The starting props were taken off the field before halftime. Yes, the Reds completely changed up their front rowers. They were just getting absolutely destroyed. The tight end prop in the Reds team was just getting folded up in every scrum. And then they had to bring on a full set of new scrum field props, and they stepped up, hammer down the, lock down the scrums, no more, lock down the scrums, not giving away penalties, holding on to that pressure, and really, really, really impressive in the second half, especially, considering how bad things were going for the Reds in the first half. And again, just good management from the coaches, good management from the team, good decision making to reduce that scrum count. And really able to help out the Reds quite a lot. Penalties as well. The Reds had a better discipline, believe it or not, in this game. Usually the Reds is one that just gives a huge amount of penalties. 6 penalties considered. This is probably the lowest for the season for the Reds, only 6. And the Chiefs is the one that considered 9 penalties. 9 penalties is not a high count. I mean, less than 10 is always quite good for any team. Even for these national test teams, you can get under 10 is quite good. 9 penalties considered the Chiefs, but that was just still not quite enough to hold out for the Reds. The Reds is just that little bit better in these key areas of the game. So let's quickly finish this about talk about some of the key moments of the match. So the game, again, 5 minutes into the game, right? So let's have a look at the points. So 5 minutes into the game, the Chiefs scores. Nana Soturo goes in for the try. So the Reds were struggling right from the beginning. It was looking like it's going to be a blowout. Crichton got his... Reds were pinning inside the 22. Crichton was trying to do a clearance kick and gets charged down. And the Reds had a 5-meter line out that was botched. And the Chiefs got the ball back. And the Chiefs just build pressure inside the Reds 22. The Sean Stevenson gets the ball, takes the ball into contact, draws 2 players, managed to pop the offload off. And there was just wide space out wide for the Chiefs. Good hands to the win. Nana Soturo runs in with almost pretty much untouched for the first try for the Chiefs. It was looking just way too easy, and I was really just like, all right, here we go again. Time to just get an early night off. But the Reds was able to find themselves back. 10 minutes in the game, the Reds was getting inside the Chiefs 22, getting some pressure on, and it was really just good structure by the Reds. Just lots of pick and go, lots of, patience, and then just pounding the try line for a very, very long time. I think this was maybe 12 phases or 15 phases. It was a lot of phases pounded just outside the Chiefs' try line. And eventually, the Reds managed to, what's his name? Blake, the big forward, trucks himself through for the first try for the Reds. And this was a kick right in front. Crichton had the ball on the tee. It looked like he could just easily pop this one through. Just as he starts to take the run, the wind blows the ball over. Yes, New Zealand. Even the weather is against the away team, so it blows the ball over. And the referee says that's your opportunity. The Chiefs players runs out, picks up the ball. The ref says you moved before the ball fell down, so you missed the penalty. This was an easy 2 points. So the score is locked in at 5 points apiece. 17 minutes into the game. Reds misses another line out inside their own 10 meters mark. The Chiefs kicking him at this point has been really good, just being able to pin the Reds inside their own 22, and the Reds are struggling with the line out. So it looks like everything's going for the Chiefs. 25 minutes into the game, the Chiefs scrum was showing dominance on the Reds as well, and it was just like I actually wrote here, wow, that's not looking good. The Reds scrum was completely lifted off their feet, the prop was completely folded up. are getting pushed off their feet. It was huge scrum. And the Reds was just completely struggling a bit. And the Reds' kicking game was not very good at this point as well. Vunivalu seems to be targeted as well by the kicking game. He keeps getting the ball, and his kicking game is not that great. So he's just been punting the ball down the middle of the field, and there was lack of pressure. And the Chiefs, despite getting these opportunities, these poor return kicks from Vunivalu, they just kept. They didn't really do anything with it. They just almost let's just. The counter attack was not there. There was a number of huge opportunities for the Chiefs to counter attack because there was no pressure from these kicks, and the Chiefs just ran a few steps and punted the ball down the field again. So that was some really poor decision making there for the Chiefs. And then the Chiefs was able to steal the Reds line out just as well. So everything was not looking good for the Chiefs. 29 minutes into the game, the Reds had an attacking line out inside the Chiefs 22, and their own attacking line out, and the Reds were caught offside from their own, the backline moved up too early before the line out was over, so they got caught offside in their own attacking line out. So I was just like throwing my hands up in there when I saw this. But finally, James O'Connor was able to turn the game, put some hammer down in the game, makes a good run down the sideline. But that was not good enough. The Chiefs managed to turn the ball over. 36 minutes into the game, the Reds was attacking inside the Chiefs 20, inside the Chiefs half. It was looking quite good. Connor was directing traffic, and he throws a pass. This pass he got tackled at the same time, so the ball kind of jolted out of his hand. He went loose, bounced on the ground towards Vunivalu. And Vunivalu, I was so angry when I saw this. Vunivalu didn't look like he wanted to get the ball. He was like, he looked like he wasn't trying to get the ball. And Nana Soturu goes up, punts the ball down the field, and Vunivalu just gave up. He didn't chase. I was so angry when I saw this. He didn't even try to get the ball in the first place, and when the ball got punted down the field, he just gave up. And Nana Soturu ran 80 meters, 50 meters, scooped out the ball, put it down, a free try. I was so disappointed when I saw this. Suddenly the Chiefs are up 12 points to 15. Just before halftime, the Reds really realized that the issue with the front row was not working out for them. Swapped in a new set of front rowers just before halftime. We've seen this done before. This is not the first time. Has been done by the Springboks, a strategy the Springboks like to use, putting a fresh set of front rowers before halftime. Something that used to be considered really weird, but the Springboks is the team that, Rassi Erasmus is the guy that kind of invented this to bring in fresh props just before halftime. And sure enough, the fresh props immediately paid off for the Reds. Because the props are fresh, the Chiefs props are tired, looking to go get a break. Just before halftime, the Reds gets a prop on the field. They get a penalty. The Reds decides, instead of taking the 3 points, as many Australian teams would have done in this situation just before halftime, let's take the 3 and go into halftime with a smaller, within reach with the New Zealand team. It's good enough. No, Reds goes to the corner, they set up a maul with the new front rowers, and the maul was slow, but it was good structure. The ball comes out to McDermott. McDermott sees the gap, darts straight through for the try. And levels the score at 12 points apiece for both teams going to halftime. So I was really, really happy when the Reds did this, because so many teams would have taken the 3, but the Reds made the right decision, and that is how you beat the New Zealand team in New Zealand, right? A few minutes into the second half, the Reds came out wanting to win the game. The front rowers just really put down a lot of pressure at the breakdown. A lot of big, hard running by the Reds. Got themselves inside the Chiefs 22 once again. Good running. Just a lot of piling on pressure. Pick and go by the forwards. Just physicality. And then the ball goes out wide to James O'Connor. Showed his veteran instinct. He gets the ball. He runs up. Again, draws 2 players. Throws the ball over the top like a basketball throw over the top. The ball goes to Jock Campbell. Campbell gets the ball. And he was surprised. He was there and he had another player out wide of him. And there was no one in front of him. Because the Reds forward did such a good work drawing the defenders in. There was so many. There was half the field still wide open. And Jock gets the ball. He looks surprised. He's like, oh, is this a penalty? Something happened? Did the referee put the whistle? He was literally looking around am I going to score? Yes. There's no one in front of me. He just runs in and puts the ball down for a try. He genuinely looks confused as to why there's no one in front of him. The forwards have done such a great job here for the Reds. And then a few minutes later, 46 minutes of the game, the Chiefs gets their penalty opportunity. And I thought maybe the Chiefs should go for the tries here. But no, Chiefs decided to go for the easy option. D-Max kicks for the 3 points. 15 points to 17. Chiefs are still behind by 3. 53 minutes into the game, the Reds gets a penalty. Now, this is the decision, right? The Chiefs just kicked for 3. Are you going to kick for 3 as well to keep your 7-point lead? The Reds said no. They're going to go for the corner. They go for the corner. They go for the maul. They get an advantage out of the maul for one of the players getting taken out on the air. Reds, use the advantage again to go for another line out to set up another maul, and then they just piled in with the pressure. Fraser McRae gets they go for the maul, right? Fraser McRae kind of peels the ball out of the maul, goes for himself. He gets tackled short. He almost looked like he reached out, but still short. The Reds recycles the ball. Zane Nongor picks up the ball. Big prop once again, doing what he's supposed to do. Big leg drive, powers himself through for another try for the Reds. The Reds misses the conversion with Liner on the field. 22 points to 15. Still, only 7 points lead, but you can tell the mentality of the Reds team is to score tries and not to try to eke out a win. So again, I was really happy that they made the right decision here to go for the try, even though the conversion didn't go through. 62 minutes into the game, the Chiefs are clearly looking really rattled, right? They've got kind of like had all these opportunities and not really convert that into points. They were inside the Reds' 5-meter line, going for an attacking line out. They throw not straight. This was really painful to watch. This was coach killer. 17 minutes into the game, the Chiefs gets another penalty with the dominant scrum. They kick this ball out for 22-meter line out, and the Chiefs just builds. They build. 17 phases later, the Chiefs finally gets themselves through, and this was Ioane gets the ball. Nice little short pop pass after drawing 2 defenders to Fayau. Oh, how do you say his name? Finau. No, it's Finau. Yes, Finau throws a little short pass to Finau, goes in for the try, and suddenly the Chiefs is back up to what is it? Suddenly the score is leveled at 22 points to 22 going into the last 10 minutes, right? So yes, so the Reds was able to get so the Reds gets the ball, right? They do the kickoff for this try that's been scored, and the Reds, you can tell they wanted to win this game and just completely piled on the pressure on the Chiefs, managed to return the ball from the kickoff, and then they just built a lot of pressure in the Chiefs team. And you can tell the desperation from the Reds to try to get something out of this game. And then they get a penalty, they go for the corner, they get another penalty again. And finally, the Reds just goes, okay, we've been here long enough. We're going to take the 3 points. With only about 2 minutes left on the clock, the Reds had a penalty right in front after building a lot of pressure. So they had like 3 penalties before they decided to take the kick. So it wasn't like, oh, we got a penalty, let's take the kick, let's just stay ahead for now. They realized that they needed to make a genuine attempt to score the try and also manage the clock, right? There's about 5 minutes left. If they kick the penalty, the Chiefs can easily score a try in the 5 minutes. But if you run the clock down a bit more, the Chiefs are very hard. It's very unlikely that this mix is going to make it really hard for the Chiefs to win in the last 2 minutes, right? So they managed that to get the clock down to about 2 minutes left. Liner kicks the ball through. Reds lead by 3 points. And finally, in the last 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, last 3 minutes, the Chiefs had everything that we just talked about in the start of the video, piling into the Reds half, gets a penalty about 40 minutes out for high tackle, and then the Chiefs didn't take the penalty, used up the penalty advantage, gets inside the Reds 22, gets another penalty, and then they piled on. Eventually, Chiefs goes over the try line after 20, how many phases was this? 27 phases? 26 phases. They go over, held up, and then the referee says, advantage over. You have used it. No going back to take 3. You've had plenty of phases to score a try or to go back to the penalty if you wanted to put the ball down. But you've taken the advantage. That's it. Game over. And history was made. Very controversial one, but I thought the referee did really, really, really good job. Anyway, that's the review, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go have a break, and I'll see you guys a bit later for more reviews. Cheers.